So what is completing the square? Well, completing the square is a method used to solve a quadratic equation by changing the form of the equation so that one side there is a perfect square trinomial. So here's a quadratic equation. ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. We then turn that to a parentheses x plus d parentheses squared plus e equals 0. D equals b over 2a, and e equals c minus b squared over 4a. So general quadratics can have a coefficient of a in front of x squared. A x squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Divide the whole equation by the coefficient a, and you get x squared plus b over ax plus c over a equals 0. You then move the term c over a to the right side of the equation. You complete the square on the left side of the equation. You balance the equation out by adding some value on the right side of the equation. We should now have something like x plus y squared equals z. You then take the square root of both sides of the equation, and then you subtract the number that remains on the left side of the equation to find x. And then you will most likely get either 1 or 2 answers. For our first example problem, we have the equation 2x squared plus 12x minus 1 equals 20. We're going to be adding 1 to both sides to begin with, and we're going to get 2x squared plus 12x equals 21. In order to get x by itself, we're going to divide 2x squared by 2 for all terms, and we're going to get x squared plus 6x equals 10.5. Next, we're going to have to remember to add b over 2 squared. In this case, since we have 6 as the b, a, b, c, so when 6 is put over 2, you get 3. Square that and you get 9, as you can see right here. So, x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 10.5 plus 9. Simplify that, we get x plus 3 squared equals 19.5. When you square root that, you get x plus 3 equals square root 19.5. When we subtract 3 on both sides to isolate the x, we get x equals negative 3 plus or minus square root 19.5. When you simplify that out, you get x equals negative 7.416 and 1.416. For example problem number 2, we have the problem 4x squared plus 40x minus 300 equals 0. Our first step is to divide everything by 4 after writing the problem out, obviously. And we get x squared plus 10x minus 75 equals 0. We then add 75 on both sides, and we result in x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 75 plus 25. So in red, the reason why it's in red is because of the previous formula. B over 2 squared equals this number. So when we plug in 10, which is the B, we get 25. So that's why we added 25 right there. Next, we're going to simplify it. We're going to complete the square, and we're going to get x plus 5 squared equals 100. After that, we're going to square both sides, and we're going to x plus 5 equals plus or minus negative 10. After that, we're going to subtract 5 so that we can get x isolated, which is what we were looking for from the start. And we're going to have 2 answers. And in order to solve these 2 answers, we're going to have to subtract 5 on both problems, but we're going to have a plus and minus negative 10. Positive 10 and negative 10. When we subtract 5 from 10, we're going to get 5. For this one, when we subtract 5 from negative 10, we get negative 15. So those are the 2 answers, 5 and negative 15. So how would you check to see if your answers in completing the square are correct? Well, in order to check, you're going to get your answers and you're going to plug them back into the problem, the original problem. So we're going to be using problem number 2, which was 4x squared plus 40x minus 300 equals 0. So since we have the answers 5 and negative 15, we're going to start off with the first one. 4 parentheses 5 squared plus 40 parentheses 5 minus 300 equals 0. 4 parentheses 5 squared equals 25, 425, plus 200 minus 300 equals 0. 4 times 25 is 100, plus 200 minus 300 equals 0. So, for the first problem, we can add a check mark to that one. And then for the second problem, we're going to have 4 minus 15 squared, 4 times negative 15 squared, plus 40 times negative 15 minus 300 equals 0. Sorry. Negative 15 squared is 225. So 4 times 225 plus negative 600 minus 300 equals 0. 4 times 225 is 900 minus 600 minus 300 equals 0. So the second answer is also correct.